Qytetarët duan ta dinë nëse Eulexi ka arrestuar peshqit e mëdhenj. Pas shumë debateve, disa qytetarë pyesin se kur do të hiqet Eulexi nga Kosova. Shumë dëshmitar refuzojnë të dëshmojnë në disa procese gjyqësore, por shefi i Eulexit thot se ata janë nën presion për të mos dëshmuar. Apo merret Eulexi më shumë me luftimin e krimit dhe korrupsionit apo me krimet e luftës, apo e prish Eulexi imazhin e Kosovës, apo më shumë është duke bërë spektakël.
Kur do hiqet Euleksi?
Eulex is here at the invitation of the Kosovo government, and that means including of the Kosovo parliament. And we are going to stay here as long as Kosovo wants us here. And let me add, we are also here to take Kosovo home. Home for Kosovo means Europe, and Europe means rule of law standards. And this is where we want to have Kosovo to improve, so that ultimately Kosovo will meet the requirements of first visa liberalization and at a later stage European Union membership.
Euleksi kur ka ardhur në Kosovë na pat premtuar se do t'i nxojmë peshqit e mëdhaj. Ku janë ata, cilët janë? Ku është nxu? Çka u bën, çka punon, çka bën? Apo vetëm merr pagat e veta dhe ikë shkon Kosovën e lën rrëmuj, si çka qenë tani herët do të jetë vazhdim ashtu.
Eulex is not only here to catch big fishes or fishes at all. Corruption is not a challenge only for Eulex, but for the whole of the society. And I believe that we had quite some success, a huge number of people which were brought behind bars, culprits which were brought behind bars. And this is not only the work of Eulex, this is a work of dedicated Eulex and Kosovo policemen, prosecutors and judges. And our job is also to help break the mentality of silence and to encourage people to come forward with evidence so that more culprits can be brought to book. We need in that sense more and more citizens to step up and assist us in the fight against corruption and organized crime. And when you say that in Kosovo, when we leave Kosovo, we would leave a mess, I don't believe so. Kosovo will be a completely different place. And I think I would like to leave a Kosovo with a strong independent judiciary where everybody has access to justice, completely independent of his or her wealth or status, whether someone is big, is rich or poor. That is what I'm here to work for.
Po më intereson se është Euleksi të bën për korrupsion. Apo më në zona ja po më në nol. Po më nëhet me nol këtë hani edhe Euleksi po bëdi homa. Hani as po nolet hiç. Populli është i hiq. Çfarë më thon tjetër? Kur gjë hiç. Inshallah e join. Hojnë atë join. E nolen hani.
Eulex is working together with its Kosovo partners, police, prosecution and judges, including to fight corruption, and this we are taking very seriously. And corruption cases, in particular the big ones, are usually very complicated. I may draw your attention, for instance, to the Medicus case, which was finished just a couple of weeks ago. It took 5 years from the start to the finish to collect the evidence and enough evidence to convince a judge to punish the suspects. Or to mention another case, a mixed team of Kosovo and Eulex investigators and prosecutors is following the so-called passport affair. That is the allegations about criminal acts in the context of the production of new passports for Kosovo. And this is ongoing already for quite some time. And I repeat, corruption is something that everyone in Kosovo can help with.
Zašto recimo njihovi šoferi i telohranitelji imaju veće plate nego što imaju sudije koje rade u, da kažem, pravosuđu?
International missions all over the world have to offer competitive salaries so that they are able to attract good people. And if we couldn't do that, we would not be able to work and deliver on that what Kosovo wants from us.
Sipas raporteve të medjave, dihet se shumë dëshmitarë kanë hequr dorë nga dëshmitë e tyre për me dëshmu kundër ushtrisë Kosovës. Ata kanë deklaruar sepse janë në presionin e Eulexit. Pyetja pra i drejtohet shefit e Eulexit se a ekziston vërtet ky presion ndaj tyre për me dëshmu kundër ushtrisë së Kosovës?
Absolutely not. There is definitely no pressure on witnesses to testify, but there is pressure on witnesses not to testify, and this certainly doesn't come from Eulex.
Unë kisha me pyet shefin e Eulexit që prej se është ardhë Eulexi në Kosovë, dhe më thënë, anë zbërthuj prej unimikut në Eulex, qka ka bo për të zhdukurit të cilët i kemi në fshatin ton 370 sa njerëz që janë të zhdukur. Por nuk kanë bë asgjë në lidhje me kriminalet të cilët e kanë shkaktuar gjitha dhimbje të këtij regioni. Do të thotë, asgjë deri më sot nuk është bë për ndjekjen e kriminalëve të masakrës Mejës.
You're putting here three questions. The first is about UNMIK, and Eulex is not something into which UNMIK transformed. UNMIK continues to work in Kosovo. Second question is about the Meja massacre. And I may inform you that in April this year, the Special Prosecution of Kosovo, with the support of Eulex prosecutors, has started an investigation into the Meja massacre. And there are about 20 identified suspects. I cannot tell you more about the case as it is under investigation. And regarding missing persons, I think this is a part of our success story. The Department for Forensic Medicine, since 2009, has handed over more than 340 human remains to their family members. Among those were victims from the Meja massacre. And this week, another field operation that Context is going on, so that we may be able to find more missing people.
Jam Emine Peci, mësimdhënëse në kodrën e minatorëve, punoj që 10 vite, kushtet nuk i kemi, punojmë në shkollë barak, nuk kujdeset duke fillu pe presidencës e deri të qeveria edhe komunën pe morëm absolutikisht kërkush për neve. Lëvizjen nuk e kemi të lirë, ne duhet të rrezikojmë këmbë të shkojmë edhe në për protesta në shkollë. Kisha me bo një pyetje, ka po bën Eulexi për lëvizjen e tonë të lirë, që edhe ne të ndihemi pjesë e Kosovës.
In terms of freedom of movement, I agree, not everything has been resolved in the north of Kosovo. The situation is not yet satisfactory, but if you compare it to the situation a year ago, I think we have seen a massive improvement. And this is ongoing. And I expect to see more progress in this area with the implementation of the agreements which have been reached in the negotiations between Pristina and Belgrade, and which were supported by my colleagues in Brussels. And we continue to support the implementation of these agreements and also see an improvement in this freedom of movement.
Edhe kisha bo pyetje pse Eulexi ka shku nga dalë edhe strukturat paralele ka toleruar që 14 vjet.
I think we are now right in the middle of a real historic process. I mean, the negotiating parties, Belgrade and Pristina, in negotiating in Brussels, are about to solve a 14-year-old problem. And I think the situation has improved over the last year. Police stations, the so-called parallel police stations, have been closed. Many other things have been progressing, and we are moving further in the right direction. It may still need a bit of patience, but we are on the right way, and I'm firmly convinced that this is a one-way road now to normality.
Shefin e Eulexit e kisha pyet çka ka bërë për mbrojtjen e dëshmitarëve, për familjet e dëshmitarëve, si për shembull familje Zogaj që ai mbyti vetën ose familjeve tjera, çka ka arrit me bë?
Well, witness protection programs are sensitive in every country, and witness protection programs are complicated in every country. Agim Zogaj was in a witness protection program, and it was not his family in the program, it was himself. And he was there on a completely voluntary basis. He decided to join into this program. Afterwards, he decided to take his own life, something that no witness protection program can ever stop if an individual decides to kill himself.
Me Eulexin sigurisht nuk jam I kënaqur. Arsyeja kryesore, edhe pse ka shumë arsye, por arsyeja kryesore drejtësia selektive. Do të thonë arreston ata që nuk duhet arrestohen, nuk arreston ata që duhet arrestohen.
This is absolutely not true. We do not arrest people based on popularity contests or preferences. If they deserve or not to be arrested is decided by the court, and the court is independent. And before the court verdict, every individual is presumed to be innocent. We respect this most important principle of rule of law. That means we follow evidence and not the person. We don't look at specific individuals, but we look at the evidence that we are getting, material evidence or witness statements. We check their credibility, and that the same is done by Kosovo judges and Kosovo prosecutors, whether they work in cases with us or whether they work on their own in so many cases. Also, investigations are not initiated because someone is popular or unpopular. Investigations are initiated because there is evidence against someone, sufficient evidence so that there is a grounded suspicion that this may lead to a conviction. And this is done in the hand of autonomous prosecutors and independent judges.
Kisha pas një pyetje mja bo dhe shefit të Eulexit. Tu e ditë që janë bo gjithë këto arrestime, për çfarë arsye janë bo, apo kanë vetëm një prapavi politike?
Crimes happen in the context of war, and justice is about individuals, not about history. And there is no suggestion of collective guilt against whomever. And there is certainly no criticism of organizations. We are dealing here, as Kosovo courts are dealing here in other cases, with the potential guilt of individuals accused of crimes. And we are in particular involved with very serious crimes. The truth is that the people here in Kosovo can distinguish between the struggle and war crimes committed during the struggle. The majority of Kosovo Albanian war crime suspects committed crimes against their fellow Kosovo Albanians. And these perpetrators are here in Kosovo, within Kosovo jurisdiction. It is a key principle of rule of law that everyone is equal before the law and no one is above the law.
Pyetja ime për Eulexin kishte me qenë: pse po rigjikohen ish luftëtarët e UÇK-s, kurse në gjykatën ndërkombëtare të Hagës janë shpallur të pafajshëm, siç është rasti për Fatmir Limen.
You're raising here another very important principle of rule of law. Ne bis in idem, that means never a second time tried on the same allegations. So, therefore, Mr. Limay could not even have been tried by the charges which were raised at the ICTY and on which he was acquitted. But he was charged of other deeds, including corruption, abuse in office, and including of other war crimes, and that is followed now.
Nëse këta kanë më shpoll nesër, po mas nesër, si fat me lima, po do me thonën edhe ramosh Haradini e shumë tjerë, të pafajshem, edhe kush duhet me gjuku e Eulexin, ku duhet në cilën drejtim duhet njeri në cilën rrugë me këqyrë që Eulexin me qu, me ull, ku pëjqojnë ata, a bën hogë, a ku kanë venin.
No one is above the law. That applies as well for people working for Eulex. If someone feels that his rights are infringed or that someone working for Eulex has committed a criminal act, he should go to the police, to Eulex police or to Kosovo police and give his witness statement or his statement. And if someone feels that our executive activities, like wherever police actions, have infringed on his rights, then I would suggest to contact our Human Rights Review Panel. This is an independent institution which guarantees and which controls that we are observing human rights. We have already been criticized, and there where this criticism came up, we have adopted our approaches.
Shefin e Eulex tek kisha vetë. A është akuzu dikush Drenis apo për kretë Kosovën për masakrën. Masakrën e jasharve, masakrën e Obris, masakrën e Reçakit, dhunimet, kestrajtimet e këtij populli, a akuzu dikush për këto gjëra?
I cannot comment on ongoing investigations. I cannot warn anyone who is involved. But I would like to underline that these are very serious cases, and I have been, when I worked here for the OSCE, involved in the initial investigation of one of these massacres, of the Rečak massacre. So this is something that I follow with a lot of interest. But so many people quite a number of people have been charged already, and on other massacres, on other criminal acts during the war. We had so far 16 verdicts, 7 against ethnic Serbs and 9 against ethnic Albanians. And I think that shows that we are investigating in every direction, but also a grain of salt or a bit of caution. It is almost 15 years now that criminal deeds were committed, and it becomes more and more difficult to investigate, to find evidence, to find witnesses. That makes it over the time more and more difficult to continue.
Në një raport të botuar në njënën për portaleve vendore, raportohej në bazë të dhënave nga Eulexi që prej fillimit misionit, ky mision ka hetuar dhe po heton 101 raste të krimeve të luftës, 30 raste të korrupsionit edhe disa raste të krimit të organizuar. Pyetja ime për shefin e Eulexit është: çka ka ndryshuar në ndërkohë që ky mision i ka dhënë prioritet krimeve të luftës në raport me rastet e korrupsionit, kur dihet se sipas gjitha organizata dhe gjitha raportimeve, Kosova mas shumë të vuan nga korrupsioni në rritje. Pra kjo është pyetja, pse tash misioni i Eulexit po jep rëndësi krimeve të luftës 15 vjet mas luftës?
From the about 350 cases which are investigated by the Special Prosecution of Kosovo, where our prosecutors are working, about less than 30% are war crimes cases. All the rest are cases of organized crime, abuse in office, corruption, etc. So the assumption of the newspaper article that you were quoting is wrong. But it is not only Eulex following corruption. To punish corruption, to investigate into corruption is the task of all prosecutors here in the country, and we are only a small share of these prosecutors. And the Kosovo prosecution, that is my firm conviction, needs to do more on that as well.
E kisha pyet shefin e Eulexit ku janë tmetat e sistemit të drejtësisë në Kosovë. Na qytetarët e Kosovës menojmë që Eulexi si mision ekzekutiv nuk duhet të jetë në Kosovë, por duhet të jetë si mision këshillues edhe ndihmues, asgjë më shumë.
This is definitely the direction we are taking. I mean, first, to do more and more investigations in the police, in the prosecution, together with Kosovo policemen, together with Kosovo prosecutors, and then to sit together on the benches in the court to adjudicate cases. And then from there onwards, the perspective is to move to technical assistance projects, that what we call mentoring, monitoring and advising.
Gjykata Evropiane e auditorit e ka konstatu një performancë të dobët të Eulexit në Kosovë. Çka ju konkretisht do të bëni që të përmirësohet kjo performancë, kryesisht në sundimin e ligjit, pra në dy fusha në të cilat ne vendorët e kemi problem që ta zhvillojmë luftën efikase, pra në luftimin e krimit organizuar dhe të korrupsionit.
This report of the European auditors was important for us. It had a lot of different chapters, and some of these chapters help us improve our own administration, and also some showed us how to improve our performance. And we did that. We changed. We have been taken over many of the recommendations. But on some things, in some fields, I also tend to contradict. I mean, if you take, for instance, the more than 300 verdicts in criminal cases which were promulgated by, with the involvement of Eulex judges, or the almost 40,000 conflict-related property cases which were solved with our support, so that only 4,000 or 5,000, something between 4,000 or 5,000 are remaining. The number is diminishing every day. Or, as I mentioned before, that the human remains of more than 340 missing people had been returned to their families. I think this is quite an impressive success story.
Kisha pas një pyetje shefin e Eulexit, pse po bëni shumë spektakle kur po arrestoni njerëzit?
We definitely have absolutely no interest in doing any spectacles. Police is doing its work. And on the other hand, I understand media which are reporting broadly when someone who is well known is arrested. This is part of the freedom of the media.
Питоби Eulex, zašto malo ne obrati pažnju za Rome sa Kosova?
The mandate of Eulex is about rule of law, and that applies for everyone, completely independent of his ethnic origin, be it Roma, Egyptian, Albanian or Serb. In that sense, we make absolutely no differentiation, and we are also supporting the Kosovo institutions to recruit more people from the minorities.
Pitala bih predstavnike Eulexa, misije Eulex na Kosovu, kada će se znati rezultati istrage o trgovini ljudskim organima na Kosmetu i Albaniji. Znamo da je tim povodom oformljen specijalni tim za tu istragu, pa pitam kada će se znati rezultati.
I was very pleased that just a couple of weeks ago, a court promulgated the verdict against the culprits in the so-called Medicus case, which dealt with organ trafficking. These deeds happened between 2007 and 2009, and it took a long time to investigate. It took 5 years to be able to prove what happened and to have enough evidence and witness statements to convince a judge to pronounce a verdict against the culprits. So this is ongoing. More deeds in this context are being investigated by prosecutors. Kosovo and Eulex ones, and we will see whether more indictments will be possible on the basis of these findings. On the other hand, this case lasted almost 5 years with witnesses from 10 countries, and so it gives you an idea on how long it will take to go further on with that. You are also referring to another case, that is the alleged case of organ trade during and directly after the conflict. This case is being investigated by Eulex investigators. They are hearing witnesses, and as it is an ongoing case, I cannot comment on it.
Ka kaluar kohë gjatë që nga publikimi i përgjimeve në cilin është i përfshirë edhe vetë kryeministri Hashim Thaçi. Edhe sa duhet presin qytetarët e Kosovës deri tek gjetja e fajtorëve të atyre përgjimeve?
I'm sorry, but our policy is not to publicly disclose information about ongoing investigations and their progress and the evidence which has been gathered on these allegations.
Ju lutëm, Eulexit çkajni të bo omazhin e Kosovës, për mërni, kurse na kanë prej, na kanë gri, kanë me thminje me krejt, e tonë për mërni veç që kanë mbrojt venin e vetë.
We have been investigating a number of war crimes here in Kosovo, and wordings have been promulgated again in 7 cases involving Serbian suspects, and in 9 cases involving Albanian suspects. We are also supporting the war crimes investigator in Serbia, for instance by helping Albanian witnesses to give their statements so that he can bring his cases successfully to court. But this is helping Kosovo to deal with the past, and also to help Serbia in dealing with the past. And but I believe that the best thing that Eulex can do to honor the memory of those who lost their lives is to help build here a European Kosovo. That means Kosovo which is realizing the same values that the other countries of the European Union, my own country, Germany, and many others are built on. And these are the values of democracy and in particular of rule of law. I've been working in Kosovo before and after the conflict, and when I left Kosovo in late 1999, I left with a conviction that people wanted a European Kosovo. And I came back here to help to make a contribution to that.
Grazie.